So the other day I went to Chuck E. Cheese with my roommates, Donnie and Keyshawn, and their little brothers. Because their little brothers are 9 and 10 respectively, and I figured I'd take them, or we'd all take them to Chuck E. Cheese. And this is the first. When was the last time you went
to Chuck E. Cheese?
Yeah.
I was young enough to still be horrified of the puppets.
Oh, so it's been a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I was what, 22,
23? Last time I went was Jacob's birthday. He was 18.
18. So that was
roughly
5. He's
4 years. 4 or 5
years.
No,
ago.
I think the last time do they still have the Ninja Turtle arcade machine?
Oh no.
Okay, yeah. You can still stomp the spiders on the Spider Stomp
game. Oh wow, I forgot about that one.
Vomit in the ball pit.
Yep.
You can get one of those sticky hands for a prize.
Oh yeah, it's like 8,000 tickets for
if your mom would mortgage your house.
But we went, and yeah, that was the one thing I didn't expect any of my childhood games to be there. Last time I went, I was like 16 or 17.
Well, what kind of games are there now? Like
that's the whole point of me bringing this up. So we go, and as soon as we go in, they stamp our hands, and
like a concert.
I had brought a big
double X's.
2 X's on your hand. Make sure you don't hit the Mountain Dew too hard. But I went up to the cash register, or not the cash register, but to the people behind the counter, and I was looking at the pizza prices because this is the first time I'd ever been when I was like, and oh my god. The pizza prices are insane.
Did you have the pizza, though? Is it still good?
We didn't have the pizza because of how expensive it was.
Did you have to convert your currency to, like, Chucky tokens or something in order to buy the pizza?
Yeah, how much was the pizza before we go on?
Okay, so you could get a personal size there. Like, a personal pizza was $5.99.
Okay. Not bad.
Reasonable. But they had a thing there that was... And I guess the reason part of this was so expensive was because the package I was looking at, it was 2 large pizzas, 4 drinks... Mm-hmm. And 80 plays. So, like, that. What I should say is, they don't do tokens anymore. It's they give you a card that has like charges loaded onto it.
Can I guess the price of that package?
Yeah.
$49.99.
Wow, it was like 51 something, 51.99. I think.
I am good.
But he said like
Brett's been doing research for his honeymoon.
Yes,
we probably didn't even use 80 plays the entire time we were there, and that bundle that came with like a card with 80 on it. So that basically would have had us set for the night. Because me, Jacob, my brother Jacob, Donnie and Keyshawn, and then their little brothers. So that was 6 of us were going, and. 2 large pizzas, 4 cups. The brothers could have split the cups, and that would have had us set 80 plays. Like I said, we definitely didn't use that many, and so $50 would have had us all set for the night. But it was just
that's still astronomical.
And we didn't understand the charges at the time. So I just asked the guys, said, "Hey, do you guys want to just go to Burger King after this?" And so, but I asked the lady about the cards, and she said, "Well, we don't take tokens anymore." Hugely disappointing to me because I brought a huge sack of quarters. Because used to, you could it was a 1-to-1 ratio of the value of the Chuck E. Cheese tokens.
What am I going to do with this huge sack of quarters?
I guess
I'll spill this in the slide.
Yeah. Throw it in the trash.
Yeah. I guess, but no, I asked her, she said, well, it's still basically the same price, but the plays now roughly average up to about 33 cents a play. Or used to, it was a 1-to-1.
They've had to account for inflation. I respect that.
Chuck E. Cheese is not immune to the economy.
No, but
it's a for-profit organization.
You do kind of lose some of the charm. I felt, I guess that was some nostalgia kicking in. I wanted to have the plastic cup with the rattling coins in it.
Did you hear about the new business model?
No.
They're actually going to require you to get a chip in your hand or forehead. And,
they'll scan your brain.
Blood test.
Yeah.
It's a sample of blood.
It's blood sacrifice.
Or else you will not be able to buy or sell.
But the problem with it was, I understand when we were kids, I probably spilt my cup of coins, or kids would steal each other's tokens or something.
They don't have to produce tokens anymore.
But yeah, so...
I can see where it's more efficient.
They don't have to deal with counterfeit tokens either, which was a huge issue in the 80s.
It was, yeah, the rogue counterfeit token organizations. I can imagine it was a pretty big chore having to clear out the tokens at the end of the night. Empty 80,000 out of the skee ball machines.
It seemed like I did like the charm when I was a kid, but I get it, and it was fine, but But the biggest problem with it came with the kind of the games that there were, because I remember when I was a kid, they did have a few games like this, but it was like, seriously, dude, it was like 90% of the games there were just gambling.
Oh,
where
okay.
you swipe the card, and it counts it as a play, and it's literally just like a spin the wheel thing, and it just like it spins the wheel, and it just randomly pick you a ticket price to give you, and it'll give you like 8 tickets, and maybe it'll give you the jackpot. Like it was literally like a gambling machine, like but just for kids. And not that I'm trying to get on some moral high ground of, oh, it's gambling's immoral. I'm not trying to say that. It's just. What they weren't games.
Yeah,
I'm more offended as a gamer, not as
they
like
weren't necessarily like skill based games.
Admittedly, they still had the original old skee ball machines and those basketball games from when we were kids,
which are the two that I put the most miles on. So I'm happy about those.
Yeah, but they had a Transformers game that you could shoot on, and there was this pirate game that you could shoot on. But other than that, it was all.
No Jurassic Park game where you drive the Jeep and the giant minigun
that's
inside.
gone.
That's
that
a
was
classic.
such
That
a
is a
good
classic.
one.
Yeah.
I did a lot of that.
And I was trying to explain it to my brother. I was telling him, I'm not upset because, I was a 90s kid and all the cool 90s, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games are gone. I don't care about that. But it's just these aren't games. I don't care if it's modern games. I understand that. But, like, these aren't games. This is literally just, like, you're paying to just have bright colors flash in your face, and it's just gambling. And then there was one game.
They're serving kids cocktails off trays, free all night.
There's no clocks, no windows.
There's a bunch of guys in suits monitoring certain games.
Yeah.
Kids are being drugged into the back room.
Yeah, you win too many tickets too fast.
Yeah, we got a kid winning too many sticky hands over here.
Yeah.
He needs to be monitored.
Yeah.
He's counting coins.
But there was a game there that was literally basically a phone game, like a mobile game, but on a big screen. And I was telling Brett about it, that one thing that I noticed is that there would be points where it would give you almost an impossible obstacle. Did you ever hear about the Temple Run or Temple Runner game?
Yeah.
Where you have...
Yeah, I played a little Temple Run.
It was basically a very kidified version of that. And eventually you'd get to a point where all 3, like, lanes you were running in would be blocked, except... And it would just be throwing everything at you. And it was like, no kid could... I could hardly do it. And there would be times, too... I felt like they were doing that just to make you fail, so you'd put more plays in. And then also something I noticed was... There were times where I was lucky, and I got through these extremely hard parts, and I would just go on a long streak. But the game would just be like, all right, it needs another play charged. Because I've gotten so far and played for so long... without dying, that the game's like, nope, it needs another play to keep playing.
Your character stops, he looks at his shaking hands as he removes his pistol, he goes, what am I doing? And Bioshock 2's himself in the head. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I swear. I just, it was just insidious.
Yeah.
I was like, and I even asked Cedric, Donnie's little brother, I asked him, and this is a 9-year-old kid, I said, so Cedric, I have a question for you. Would you rather stay here and do this, or go home and play the PlayStation? He said, PlayStation. So we let them use up what the charges they had on their cards, and then we just went home. Like,
Poor Chuck E. Cheese's, too, because like you have to compete with a PS4. You know?
So you basically say, well, they have no choice but to resort to gambling, I guess.
I guess so. It's like, what arcade game can you play that's half as fun as Fallout?
It just
The
was
worst shooter on the PlayStation 4 can beat the best arcade game,
pretty much. Because arcade games typically, like that we played as a kid, most of them were just crap games by even the standards at the time, Like, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game was great, but I remember, anything, I would play that, but then go home and play. And that's an old, like, SNES game, isn't it? Or NES?
Yeah.
That Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game they had?
I don't know if the arcade game came first or the NES game came first.
I don't know, but I remember when I would play that, I'd go home and play, like, Super Mario Sunshine, which was leagues ahead in graphics.
Talking about, like, arcades, when I was in Fayetteville visiting a buddy, there was a store, I guess. You would go in and you would, just pay so much money you could play unlimited arcade games, right?
Oh,
and
so
then,
you'd come in and pay like $15, and as long as you're there, you just play.
I think it was like $8 was the price or whatever.
Wow.
That's a pretty good deal.
It was pretty cool, but all the arcade games were from like the 80s and 90s, right? You kind of realize like the quality of those games, like they're very nostalgic, right? You have, they have a lot of nostalgic value, but after you spend a whole night playing them, you're like, just kind of blows.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it doesn't really hold a candle.
Yeah.
I did feel... I could imagine myself as like an 80s kid, you know, in an arcade, just feeling slightly depressed and bummed out because I don't fit in. Like, that was the feel of the arcade. You know, they had like 80s pop music playing over the speakers. It was kind of like a really dismal experience.
Yeah.
So...
Because we kind of we're in the in between. We were like after the arcade we came after arcades were the only thing you had, and before where like you have an arcade on your you have an arcade in your pocket now.
Well, I can remember like as a kid playing Capcom versus Marvel at Pizza Hut. Like Pizza Hut was one of the last standing bastions of the arcade game.
Yeah,
like that, or they had Street Fighter. I don't know if they ever had Mortal Kombat. Maybe that was a little too violent for Pizza Hut.
Yeah,
you know,
especially where we live. I don't know. That's the thing is I'm not so blinded by nostalgia. Like I said, I wasn't upset at Chuck E. Cheese that they didn't have my games as a kid. It's just they didn't have games. It was just the weirdest thing to see that. And like I said, the kids even it seemed like they weren't aware of it like I was, but they were obviously not having. I mean. I literally asked a little kid if he was ready to leave Chuck E. Cheese, and he said yes. Like that's insane to me.
When did you go? What day of the week, and was it populated?
It wasn't that populated.
Really?
And I mean, it wasn't like, wow, this place is dead.
It wasn't a ghost town. It tumbleweeds blowing across.
The only people who were there were the child gambling addicts.
Yeah, like a 9-year-old with a beard.
They were spending their lunch money and milk money at the Chuck E. Cheese.
No, it was accurately, or not accurately. It was there was a decent group of people there to the point, but they're not so much that you were sitting there waiting to play a game or a gamble. But one thing too, I don't know if this was just from my memory as a kid. It can't be, no. But they didn't have an air hockey table anymore. The one they had was like tiny for like 4-year-olds.
But be honest, did either of you like air hockey? Because I'm of the opinion air hockey is the worst one-on-one game. I would rather play Pong, you know, on a control stick.
I'd rather have to box somebody than have to play air hockey.
Interesting. I don't know if y'all noticed, but we have this ping pong table in my house. I've never once played it. I hate ping pong. I'm terrible at it. I don't think it's a bad game. I just suck really bad at it. But hockey,
maybe air hockey has like a learning curve. You know, like maybe there's a way you could put spin and English on the puck. You know, I've not spent enough time with air hockey.
It's just
really, like as a kid, it was just someone holding their paddle or whatever you call that in front of the goal.
Yeah.
Like they just let it sit there and you just knock the hell out of it.
And just knocking it into your own.
Yeah. I would beat myself. It was like a mirror of my own flaws.
And I don't know if this is just me, but just the constant clank of that puck against those plastic bumpers and your plastic paddle, just the clink, clank, clink, clank. Oh man.
See, you're supposed to, like, there. If you look on the board, there's like a goal around your hole, and you're not supposed to put your thing there. So, but when we were kids, you know, it was, you know, nobody cared.
This is coming from the kid who literally thought how you use Pokemon cards was. You just laid down your card and used the attack.
Yeah.
And like, so I would just had a Charizard, right? And like, what did Charizard have? Like 100 health and 120 attack?
It was like,
Or is that reversed?
There was like 4 red fire energies for Fire Blast.
I didn't know what energies were. I just thought they were like cards that held the place in the pack. Like, you know, just make sure you didn't get all cool cards so you keep coming back.
You
had these energies.
They had to put some crappy ones in there.
Right, like I didn't know what those were. Like they were, you know, olives in a martini or something. Right. So like, yeah, I would just lay that down and be like, well, I guess I beat you. Yeah. So like, what's your next card? Well, I beat that too. Like, unless they had something higher. That's how we play Pokemon.
Yeah, I had my make-believe rules for Yu-Gi-Oh! I remember I was a kid.
No summons.
It was, we had a no summons mode. I can't remember exactly what our rules were, but I remember just loving that. Just, I mean, I'm not saying it's better than what you have now, where you actually can Google how to play the game. But this was back. I remember me and my brother had no way to know. We based our way of we played based
off
on what we
saw
on the show.
Yeah.
You know.
And therefore, I explained in excruciating detail everything my card could do to the person in front of me.
Yes, in a very operatic voice, like you were Yugi explaining.
This is Celtic Guardian. He has 2,000 defense points.
For some reason, you're shouting Pegasus at the opposing person.
I think Celtic Guardian had 1,200.
14 or 12.
1,400 attack, 12 defense, I think.
Was it 12 defense?
1,200.
12 and 14 were in there somewhere.
Yeah. The only ones with like 2,000 were like that Giant Soldier of Stone, Mystic Elf. Yeah, I only know like the first.
What did he say to Kaiba the first time he summoned Exodia? Like, there are no bad cards in my deck, Kaiba.
I'm sure he has plenty of like 900 attack crap cards.
Oh yeah. Exodia, obliterate.
Which is funny because that's how David Blaine ends every Mephisto.
It does.